You all are having a good day so far. Today we're going to talk about a couple of my favorite organelles. And we're going to start out with the cell membrane. So both animal cells, and this orange cell right here is an animal cell, and plant cells have them. Now, on a plant cell, on an animal cell, it's the outermost covering of the cell. For plant cells, this kind of orangish little strip you see, that's the cell membrane. But plant cells also have a cell wall, which is outside of the cell membrane. It's going to be really important to remember. So I'm going to mention that again. So they have the cell membrane, which is here, and then outside of the cell membrane, they have a cell wall. Animal cells only have the cell membrane. Now, if you notice, this picture right here is actually pretty accurate in the sense, now the holes aren't this big, but the cell membrane, it has teeny tiny microscopic little holes in it. And the cell membrane, what I compare it to, I would compare it to a bouncer at a club. And just listen. I think right now we're standing in line at a club. Wow, this must be a club from the 1990s. This is a really old sounding song. So let's say you're waiting in line at a club. You're all dressed up, looking to have a good time. You show the bouncer, who is some huge person, your ID. And okay, you're 22 years old, fine, they let you in. Then someone else comes in line and they look at their ID and they're like, wait a second, this is a fake ID. It says that you're 6'8" and you're really 5'2", and you have an accent like you sound like you're from Boston, and this says that you're from Texas. They're not going to let you in. Cell membrane, on a cellular level, kind of does the same thing. It's going to let helpful things like food and water in, and it's going to try and keep out things that are going to harm the cell, things like bacteria and viruses. Also, those little tiny holes, it makes the cell membrane semi-permeable, which means that stuff like oxygen can just pass right into the cell membrane. So remember, gives protection, allows good things in, and keeps bad things out. Now let me skip to a different page really quick. And this is what the cell membrane actually looks like. Now, later on at the end of the unit, we're going to learn something more about the cell membrane, how it's involved in active transport and passive transport. But right now, I just want you to get the general functions of the organelles. So let's go back here again. Now, this next one, this may be my all-time favorite organelle. I really don't have a reason why, but I think it is. And that is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Whenever you have to write this out in short answer questions, you don't have to write out that entire word. You can write out the acronym I have here, RER. And the RER is always right next to the nucleus. And if you take a look, it has little spots on it. Those little spots are ribosomes. And if you remember earlier, ribosomes make proteins. So what the RER does, it acts basically like a transport system. I call it a highway. Instead of, if you go to 75, 85, it's going to be transporting people in cars. If you go inside the cell, the RER, it's a highway system for proteins. So for each one of the organelles, you may want to start thinking about nicknames for them, like cell membrane. Think of a bouncer. For the RER, think of a highway. It's going to help you remember the functions of the organelles. So let's go on to our last organelle. The last one is called the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, or the SER. And the SER is always, if we take a look at the picture, so you've got your rough ER, and remember, you see the little bumps on there, and what are those little bumps? Yep, someone said ribosomes, that's it. And ribosomes, what do? That's right, they make proteins. Now, something to think about to help you remember what ribosomes do. And the word ribosome, what do the first three words spell? They spell rib. And when you're eating ribs, what type of nutrition are you getting? You're getting protein. They make proteins. So, again, The nicknames help. Now, unfortunately, I haven't come up with a nickname for the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, but what it does is it helps to store fat and make fat. And let's see, does anybody remember, when it makes those fats, what structure in a cell is made up of fats and needs an SCR? That would be the cell membrane. The cell membrane is actually, a lot of it is made up of fat. So the smooth endoplasmic reticulum has a really important role to play. Let's go over everything again. So we have the cell membrane, kind of acts like a bouncer, allows good things in like food and water. It's going to try and keep bad things out like bacteria and viruses. And then the rough endoplasmic reticulum, it's a highway system, except it's for proteins, and then the smooth endoplasmic reticulum creates fats. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. Let's go back to the cell membrane again. Take a look at these little structures that I'm running my cursor over. Those are little locks. And if something has the correct key, it can get inside of the cell. Now, I mentioned one of the jobs of the cell membrane is it tries to keep bad things out like viruses. Viruses actually have keys on them. And if a virus has the correct key, it can open up the cell membrane and go inside the cell. Now, since viruses aren't alive, the place they go, let's see, what organelle's in charge of reproduction? Ding, 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 that's right, the nucleus. They go to the nucleus, and the nucleus will help them reproduce. But we're going to talk about this more in class, and also one of the videos you're going to watch related to today's assignment is going to show you how viruses react when they get in a cell. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.